What's going on, guys? It's Gtexel, and I was on Kotaku today looking at some articles, and I was brought to an article that said that there was a new Nintendo hardware leaked. And, you know, it's been in the back of my mind lately that the Wii U is doing terribly. And that's mostly due to the fact that Nintendo did not market it correctly. They named it awfully. Like, there's still people that don't understand that the Wii U is its own thing. So Nintendo's back is to a corner right now. And not only is their console underpowered for this generation, but it's under-supported because of being underpowered. And I feel like, and I felt it, that Nintendo needs to make a pretty drastic move to save themselves in the console market. Now, a lot of people will be like, oh, well, Nintendo could just do handhelds. They print money with their handhelds. Nintendo is sitting on a lot of money right now. They could afford to pull a Sega and pretty much double back on the Wii U and put out something bigger and better than everyone else, just like Sega did with the Dreamcast. The issue with the Dreamcast was that it released 1 year before the PlayStation 2. It released too late into a console generation to be relevant. It lasted a year, but it burned brightly while it lasted, and then the PlayStation 2 came out, and the Dreamcast got crushed, unfortunately. And there were points on the Dreamcast that were better than the PlayStation 2 graphically. It had much more video memory, so textures were much better on the Dreamcast. Anyways, I digress. So this brings me to an article on NintendoNews.com, and I'm going to link it in the description below. Take all this with a grain of salt, but NintendoNews.com is very credible. They're a trustworthy site. I've gotten a lot of information from them, months to even a year ahead of time, and it still ended up being legit, honest to goodness, good news about Nintendo. And what they put out today is there are two Nintendo consoles specs leaked, and they are both the Nintendo Fusion. It's the Nintendo Fusion DS and the Fusion Terminal. The DS being your handheld, and I'm not going to cover that too much. You guys can look at the specs of that. But what I am going to cover is the Fusion Terminal, which is aiming to be Nintendo's new home console. This thing has ridiculous hardware specs. We're talking hardware specs that are double of what you're seeing in the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. If this ends up being legit, if Nintendo is doing what I want them to do and what I think they need to do in order to survive in the console market, it has put together this unbelievably powerful console and sell it at an incredible loss because they can afford to do so because of all the back stocks and money that they have. Their stocks may be dropping, but Nintendo has been printing money for years with the Wii, and the DS and the 3DS has been printing money. They have been making so much money, and the Wii U currently is set to fail. I hate it. Other Nintendo fans hate it, but this thing is doomed. It's like there has been a Mario game came out, an unbelievably good Mario game came out, and this thing is still set to fail. There is a lineup of software coming out that is amazing. Wii U is still set to fail. The Fusion Terminal, its GPU alone, has 2816 shader cores at 960 megahertz, pushing out 4.6 teraflops of data. That is many times what the PlayStation 4 is doing. PlayStation 4 does something like 1.8 teraflops or whatever. It has like 14 or 1500 shader cores. You're looking at an 8-core processor, 4 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, which is the system memory, which is key. That's I know you guys are going to be like, oh, well, there's 8 gigabytes of this on the PlayStation 4. It's all very different. That's 4 gigabytes of unified DDR4, which is huge, with another 2 gigabytes to cover the Wii U games. The Fusion is saying that it plays Wii U games and Wii games. It connects the Wii U GamePads. So they're not completely abandoning that platform if they go this route. But in my eyes, for this thing to take off, it needs to be announced before E3. We need to know about it before E3. And If Nintendo is really going to make a daring move, they need to put it out holiday season this year. And here's the third point that they need to do. They need to have some sort of trade-in for anybody who has purchased a Wii U. Otherwise, they're going to upset many, many people. They need to let us upgrade our hardware. I bought a Wii U. I'm sure many of you bought Wii U's and love the system, but we know it is doomed to fail. The sales are bad. There's not enough support for it. Outside of Nintendo software, there's not enough support, and there's not enough support because the hardware is massively underpowered. If Nintendo pulls a Sega and makes a very, very daring move, which I'm praying to God they do, because if they make this move, it will be the ballsiest move that any hardware producer in consoles has made. It will be the ballsiest of balls out moves. If they put out this super console now, they will be the main power in consoles. They need to sell it at a loss. They cannot sell it for more than $499. They just cannot. They can't come out and sell it for the $800 to $900 that it probably costs to produce. They need to sell it at a loss, a massive loss, and they need to eat that loss with their back money that they've been printing from the Wii and the 3DS. So let me know what you guys think. Read down the specs. Take this all with a grain of salt. How do you feel? Do you want to see Nintendo do this? Don't come in here and be like, Goth, you're an idiot, blah, blah, blah. I want to see Nintendo do this. I want them to be badasses and say, fuck you to Microsoft and Sony. I want to see it happen. How do you feel? Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.